Hi, this is Sensei Anthony, and I'm here at the Academy of Traditional Karate, and we're going to be going over some helpful hints and tips to make sure that you have an amazing tournament experience. Thanks and enjoy. The first thing that we're going to discuss in this video are the two main divisions that you're able to compete in during a tournament. The first would be kata. Now, kata is when you go up and you demonstrate your current set of form, and it's something that you should definitely practice a lot beforehand, and you want to make sure that it's something that you're comfortable with and that you can demonstrate on the day of the tournament. The second would be kumite, and kumite is sparring, and that is when you get to go up and you get to compete in a three-point match, typically, against an opponent. Another helpful hint when you're preparing for a tournament is to make sure that you register fully ahead of time. That would mean that you pass in your application, you submit payment, and that way you can make sure that you're in the proper division in both your kata and your kumite or sparring. Now that you've fully registered for the tournament and you've practiced both at home and in classes, we want to go over some helpful tips on preparing for the actual day of the tournament. The first tip would be to make sure that you get a good night's sleep the night before. Sometimes people can be really nervous when competing in a tournament, so getting a good night rest really helps with that. Number two is that you should have a healthy meal before you compete. You don't want to go in on an empty stomach, so something light and healthy is really great. Number three, make sure that you have a clean, pressed uniform with all the proper patches sewn on. Number four is to make sure that you have your belt tied on properly, and we can help you with that if you need. Number five is to make sure that you have all the proper gear that you need to compete the day of the tournament. And boys, you definitely want to make sure that you're wearing your cup. And the last tip is that this is a fun day, so make sure that you guys bring a camera, bring a camcorder, and take some pictures and have some memories for the future. The next thing that we're going to be discussing is how scoring works during a tournament, and we're going to begin with kata. When you're in a kata division, the first three competitors go up, perform their kata, and then they sit down. Then they're called up individually one at a time, and they are able to receive their scores. Following the third person, every competitor from there on out does their kata and then receives a score right away. Some of the things that judges look for when judging a kata include power, focus, strength, and doing the proper techniques. Now we're going to be talking about sparring or kumite and how that works in the tournament. Safety is always our number one priority in any tournament, so we always want to make sure that competitors are strictly following our rules of sparring. There's no hitting in the head, there's no hitting below the waist, there's no hitting in the back, and there's no using excessive force or hitting too hard. If somebody is not able to follow these rules, they are given a penalty, and the other opponent is awarded a point. Tournament matches also go in three-point matches, and the winner then moves on to the next round. The next thing that we want to discuss is the winning and losing aspects of a tournament. And most people would love to do well and to win in a tournament, and that's okay. You should want to do well. However, at the end of the day, if you don't win, that's okay too. As long as you did your best and you had the confidence to get up there and compete, that's the most important thing. Absolutely 100% yes, you should still compete. We have all of our divisions set up by age and by belt level, so you don't have to be worried about competing against people who are much higher levels or have been doing this a lot longer than you. Believe me, everybody gets nervous about competing in a tournament. Even if you've done a lot of them, you still get nervous. If you forget your kata in the ring, we'll help you out. If you forget your kata beforehand, we'll help you out. Make sure that you're prepared, and that's all that you can do. All you got to do is just have fun and do your best. Every tournament is different. Some tournaments have you show up at the beginning of the day and wait for your division to be called. Other tournaments have you time slotted into a certain time of day, and if that's the case, you want to show up about 10 or 15 minutes before your division is supposed to begin. I know that sometimes it's frustrating when you feel like your child should have gotten a higher score or that they scored a point during sparring, and just remember a couple of things. Number one, you want to trust in your instructors, okay? They're doing their best, and a judge is not going to be able to see everything on the day of a tournament. So just trust in them, and if you have any questions, definitely come and see us after the tournament. I know that sometimes it's confusing when in a tournament sparring division you see one person compete during the first round and another person is moved right along to the next level. And what this is called is a bye. And in a tournament bracket, it's a mathematical system called a binary tree. And it's based on how many competitors you have in the overall division. And sometimes a student will receive that bye. These are chosen completely randomly. Basic set.